Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing a recap of 2020. If you guys are long-time subscribers, I did make a recap of 2018, and you guys remember, you guys seem to like that video, so I'll do it again for this year. But this year has been an exhilarating year. I've had so many happy memories, happy achievements in my life, and I'm ready to share with you guys. First things first, we'll talk about my BMW E90, and then we'll get into my new E46 M3 that I've bought this year. My first mod I done to my E90 as soon as the beginning of this year was a secondary cat delete. You guys remember the muffler resonator delete that I done to my E90? And don't get me wrong, that exhaust sounds really good, but there was something a little bit missing out of it. I decided to chop off my secondary cats and kind of see how it goes from there, and my god, it was worth it. You can tell that the pops are a lot more louder, and there's a very throaty, straight 6-cylinder tone that I really like. Just to sacrifice a little bit of low-end torque and a little bit of gains in a high-end power band, fuck it. Car sounds good, it pops loud, I'm obnoxious and ignorant. That's what I want. The next mod I've done on my E90 was the M4 front bumper, and I really wanted to get this out of the way to begin with, because at the time of the beginning of this year, I've heard about this M4 front bumper and I really wanted to try it out for myself. And oh boy, it really did quite a number on the front end. Like, it completely transformed it. One of my biggest complaints about that M4 front bumper was the fact that the belly pan and the fender liners did not fit correctly, so I kind of had to do some modifications to kind of get it to fit. First things first, the belly pan, well, I was in the midst of springtime, so I said, fuck it, I'll just throw the belly pan out of the window. And with the fender liners, I just tried my best to see where it would line up and try to stretch it, and just drill my own holes from there. The front lip was causing quite a bit of issues, so I decided to go and self-tap the screws myself and drill in my own locations, and it's still on to this day. Otherwise, the fender liners on the side of the bumper fit perfectly. Same with the 4 Torx bolts on the top of the bumper, as well as the bolts that goes into the fender, which is really nice. There's still a couple of things I need to do, and it turns out if you have the M Sport models of the E90, the belly pans and the fender liners on the driver and passenger side are actually a little bit longer. So I'm gonna try and get the M Sport belly pan and the fender liners to see if they line up correctly and kind of go from there. Because from a lot of other users, especially the LCI E90 owners that bought the M4 front bumper, it works perfectly with their belly pans and their fender liners. So I'm starting to think that might be the issue. I'll keep you guys posted on that. The next mod I've done to my E90 was a little bit unexpected. I've always wanted sports seats for my E90, but I didn't think I would get them soon, nor did I think the opportunity would strike at that time. And I just seized it and got them for $350, I believe. Yeah, $350. The seats were in immaculate conditions, aside from the aging of the leather, which you can see the cracks here and there, but that's just to be expected with a 2008 335i, which were the seats that came out of. And everything bolted on 100% completely. Only one small problem, and the side bolsters don't work. On the forums, they actually have a wiring diagram that shows you how to rewire the harness from your seat to make the seat bolsters to work. I decided to opt out on it because whoever owned those seats before me had the same waist length as me, so it snugged me perfectly, so I didn't really bother to fix it. And the last mod I've done to my E90 this year was the M3 side skirts. Now, I didn't make a video on this because at the time, my buddy was trying to repaint the side skirts correctly, because the first time when he painted it, there was a lot of paint drooping from the bulge of the side skirt. And the second time, there was quite a bit of orange peel. So I just gave him some time to kind of finish up the side skirts just in time before I went to Ice Cream Cruise in Omaha. Otherwise, the fitment on those M3 side skirts were perfect. There was no issues at all. I will have to get the passenger side repainted because I accidentally bombed out going over a curb. It was a curb I couldn't see at night. I don't want to talk about it. And when I get that repainted, I will go over how to install those and make a video on it within the next few months. Now here comes the biggest feat of this year, in my opinion, and that was buying an E46 M3. I always wanted an M3. I didn't care what kind of M3 it was. It could be an E36 M3, E92, F80. I didn't care. But the right opportunity came up when my buddy showed me a listing. He tried to get approved for a loan and he didn't get approved. So I decided to see if I got approved for a loan, and I did. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to steal the car from you. But basically, I copped that E46 M3 for $5 grand. The guy wanted it, I think, $5,500, and I dropped $500 on him because there was a whole wrong with the interior, cosmetically wise. The whole upholstery needed to be reholstered. It needs a new steering wheel because somebody decided to eat the crap out of it. I don't know why. And the front bumper needs a lot of love because the guy that drove this M3, he bombed it out a lot. And I could tell because the fender liners were ripped to crap. There was no bottom support for the driver's side of the front bumper, so I couldn't even attach a carbon fiber like side splitters on there, so that was great. So I have to order a new front bumper for that M3, new steering wheel, re-upholster the interior, and fix a lot of other issues too. Like my trunk doesn't even open now. Like, my god, dude, what did you do to this M3? How can you treat a timeless classical car like this? It's a fucking E46 M3, for God's sake. Some of the things I've done in the E46 M3, when I first got it, I decided to buy some new headlight lenses because they're really fogged up. And I also replaced the stereo because the stereo didn't have aux. It didn't even have Bluetooth. So I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand using the FM transmitter, so I decided to replace it with a whole Android unit made by Eonon, which is a really good unit. And I will make a video on how to install it within next year when the weather decides to warm up. And then I also replaced the shift knob on the M3 because it was wearing out, so I replaced it for a new one. Otherwise, the engine and the transmission works perfectly on the M3. And it turns out some guy from BMW Motorsport used to race the exact M3 that I bought. I didn't know that up until I went to a local BMW dealership to kind of get an inspection going for my M3 to be sure everything is, you know, functioning correctly. And the service advisors, they were really freaking out, like, dude, you don't know how much of a huge deal it is. And I looked at it closely, and there was a few CSL parts on the E46 M3, so the rod bearings have been done once, if not twice from what I've heard. And it has a full manifold exhaust, and from what I heard from the previous owner, it does have catless headers, so if that's the case, I really got a really good deal on an E46 M3. So I'm really excited to bring a lot of content to this channel featuring that M3, and it's going to be the best restoration you guys will ever see. Besides that, 2020 has really brought me a lot of good memories with all my family and friends, and some great accomplishments despite the amount of stuff going around the world like COVID-19. It really sucks, and it's been recently impacting me a lot because I've been out of the job for a while, and my photography business slowed down, and I'm financially broke. But hopefully 2021 will bring a lot of great memories ahead, and great feats and great adventures, and hopefully we'll get that E46 M3 restored and get the E90 even better. Like, I still got a few plans for the E90. Like, I'm gonna bag it. You guys will see that thing dumped in the ground. Nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the recap of 2020, so please enjoy the next minute of the cinematics of my highlights of 2020. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart, and we're nearing really close to 4,000 subscribers. So if you can get that by the end of next month, that'd be amazing. I love every single one of all of you, and once I get my financial situation figured out, I will definitely pump out more content for you guys. Until next time, guys, have a happy new year. Here's to 2021. One with the boys! Woo!